All right, guys, Shazam is now in theaters, the 7th film in the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe. I thought it was fantastic. Go check out my non-spoiler review. But what kind of review is this? This is a spoilers review. I'm going to spoil the crap out of this movie as if you've already seen it. I'm going to spoil it up, down, left, right, in, and out as if you've already seen it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I strongly suggest you turn this video off now. Go see Shazam in theaters right now because it's great. Then come back and watch this video, or subscribe before you do that. Or you can just go watch my non-spoiler review, come back and watch this one, or you can just keep watching if you don't care about being spoiled. But you have been warned, so let's get into it. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to my spoiler review for Shazam. I really do appreciate it. I'm also just going to let you know, I want you to come back after you watch this video and watch another video of mine. I'm going to be talking about the mid and post credit scenes in this movie in a separate video. And now that we have 7 films in the DCEU, I'm also going to be rating all of those films, all 7 of them, including Shazam, from first to worst. So I definitely want you to come back for that. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get into these spoilers. Now, when I went into this film, I knew that we were going to get a lot of jokes, a lot of laughs. I knew that it was going to be light in tone. We have a man-child, Zachary Levi, Freddie Freeman, Billy Batson, all these people in here acting crazy in the trailer. So I had an idea of what we was going to get into. But what I did not know is that we were going to get a lot of scary and horror elements in this film. And it really did surprise me for the better. I think that was some of the best parts in the film, especially in the first and second act. The third act, not so much, but we'll talk about that in a second. But that's how the film opens up. We get a young version of Mr. Mark Strong. I believe the year was 1975. They're riding back in the car. I believe it was upstate New York. If I'm wrong, please correct me down in the comment section below. And the little boy, the little Mark Strong, he gets inducted. He gets chosen. He is the chosen one for a short time being to see if he has a pure heart to take all the powers of Shazam, played by Mr. Jaimin Hansu. He was in Aquaman 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy. This guy's all over the place. Great actor. But he wasn't. And one thing I really did like about this film is when they showed the 7 deadly sins lined up against the wall and they had the red eyes coming and just kind of showing how evil and sinister they are and all their nefarious plans and things like that. That was creepy. And I'm in my mid-30s, so I can only imagine how a younger child felt when they were seeing all that. But this was a breath of fresh air. I was like, oh snap, we getting a little bit of this, a little bit of that, something that I was not expecting. And I think they knocked that out of the park. I think that part of the film was phenomenal. Like I said, it was creepy. It was a little bit scary, a little bit eerie. And they kept popping up back in the film, and that is something I like. Now, Billy Batson, Asher Angel, I think he did a fantastic job. Also in the very beginning of the film, we got to see, kind of what happened with him and his mother. He got lost. I was just kind of saying to myself, okay, what's going on? Why don't I hear the mother screaming, Billy, Billy, where are you? Where are you? But, we found out later on that, she did do that and that she saw her child with the police officer, and she was, just, I don't know. I mean, I try to go through life without judging people, because you just never know anyone's situation. I really just want to be like, you stupid bitch, how can you abandon your child that way? I mean, that is just so selfish to me, but at the same time, I'm not a parent, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have a child when I was 17 years old, as it was illustrated in this film, and it can be hard out there. I didn't like her for that, but I really like that realism. It's kind of, kind of tough in the paint out there, just for people in general. And, I really wasn't expecting that from a comic book film. I'm not trying to overhype it or over exaggerate, but it is an element that I really did not expect that I was going to get in this film. And, just kind of landed a powerful punch, in my opinion, and, gave the film more substance as far as just how people deal with each other in general. And just, also Billy Batson's character and like where he came from, why he's so mad and, why he has a chip on the shoulder. I mean, I completely understand, bro. You have no sense of belonging. You don't feel like you belong anywhere, have a family, or like anybody loves you. So I mean, I can't empathize because I've never been there, but I can sympathize, and I really do like that. But at the same time, screw Billy's mom, screw Billy's mom. Something else that I really did like about this film was the magic and the transfer of powers and things like that. I spoke about that specifically, you know, in my non-spoiler review. But just something dark, you know, when Shazam handed the powers over to Billy, the way he kind of disintegrated right there was like, oh my gosh, you know, this is just kind of more of that scary tone that I was not expecting. And then when Dr. Savannah, played by Mark Strong, when he was older and they were doing all those trials and things like that in his office, and the symbols popped up on the clock and things like that, and he was writing it on the door, when the lady, the assistant, the doctor, the PhD, whatever she was, when she touched the door, not only did that kind of set the tone, and when she touched the door where he wrote the symbols on there, and she disintegrated, not only did that set the tone of the film, balancing out comedy with horror, but we also got a sense of Dr. Thaddeus Savannah, Mr. Mark Strong, and just how he just does not give a damn. He is on a straight and narrow path to try to find this place to get this powers, and you know, whoever's in his way, he just gonna just keep on going. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just kind of crazy. And you know, he goes into the lair, he sees Jaimin Hansu, the wizard, and you know, we get more of the seven deadly sins and things like that. I mean, I was loving it. I was eating it all up. Great film, great film. Something else that I want to talk about is the bullies. That really did stand out to me. I liked everything that they did in this film, or I like how the karma came back around. You know, what goes around comes around. You know, they tried to pick on little people, but when he got a Shazam powers, they got their truck, you know, demolished and things like that. And I really just, one of the things that I found funny, just going back a little bit on how Billy Batson got his powers, when he was on the subway trying to escape the bullies, and then he like pulled up, you know, to the lair or the cave, you know, he peeked out the little window like this, but then peeked back and then looked at the map on the door on the inside of the train. I found that hilarious. I was laughing as hard as I could, as just like everybody else in the theater, because I would be like, okay, you know, what in the hell? I don't know if I just would have left the train and, you know, went into a cave, you know, but it's just something that did really stand out to me that I found freaking hilarious. Now, with all the foster family and things like that, I love little Darla. I love the other little cute black girl. I love the little Asian boy too. He was cool too with the glasses. You know, he had his headphones on at the very beginning. That's why you suck. You know, it was just funny to me. I mean, you got a different sense of culture in that entire household. It was just full of love and justice and balance and harmony and correctness. And, you know, I loved it all. I was laughing when he said Shazam in the middle and had to run over there and cover up Darla's mouth. You know, that was funny. I liked how the film revealed, like, oh my gosh, in this moment right here, this is how you transfer back and forth, by saying Shazam, you know. And that's just like another story element that I like about the film, that gives it more challenges, or just with Shazam's character in general. You can't even go around and identify yourself or introduce yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because you're going to be transformed from, you know, boy to man to boy, back and forth, and that can be very, very dangerous, you know. And all the animated cartoons and things like that, Shazam did use it as a weapon sometime. Or, you know, here's an animated short film of Shazam right here that I have. You know, he did use that sometime to get in and out of situations, as he did in this movie. And I really do like how they adapted that, how they made that adaptation or whatever. Very, 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 very clever. Now, with all the, like, it was funny, of course. I was laughing my ass off when they was in the gas station, and it's like, oh my gosh, you have bullet immunity, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't know, or what's his name, Freddie Freeman. He's like, I don't know if it's you're bulletproof or your suit is bulletproof, so shoot him in the face. It was funny. That was one of the most laugh out loud moments, you know, in the whole theater or whatever. You know, they don't like to drink beer. They spit the beer out, going to get a whole bunch of junk food. You know, he's walking down, you know, hey, I'm Mr. Thundercracker, Mr. Sparkly Fingers. I'm a superhero. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I act. Like, oh yeah, I'm a superhero, Brandon. You know, like, I don't know. It's just like childlike innocent fun. You know, like all in this movie, and I loved it. I also like the scene where, you know, they got the mugger. Well, when he first discovered he had lightning powers and things like that. When he tried to fly and jumped on the car. When he dropped the Superman bullet down in the drain. And he was like, I'm invisible. I'm invisible. I'm invisible. And the guy was like, hey, dipshit, nice costume. It was funny. You know, I'm laughing at all this. It's just freaking hilarious. You know, they end up making $73 because the girl was like, you know, hey, I pepper sprayed him. I don't want to know y'all. I didn't see nothing. All that good stuff. It's funny. I mean, the whole film is freaking hilarious. And, you know, there was like 2 montages of him trying to discover his powers and find out all of that. That all those were great. Each montage was freaking fantastic. I was loving it. Even the part where he was like skipping school and things like that. It was fantastic. It was just like a lot of fun. Like it was just fun for no reason. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I loved it all. Now, something that I didn't talk about much in my non-spoiler review is I've seen the film twice now. I did notice a lot of the CGI wasn't the best, especially when they started flying around. When I saw the film the first time, I only noticed a brief moment of it in the mall. But when I saw it the second time, it stood out for me a lot more. And that kind of turned me off just a little bit, but I still enjoyed the film, and we'll talk about that a little bit later towards the end of this video. But what I liked is when he was doing his little sparkly fingers and, you know, he electrocuted the bus, he had to run over there and save the day. I like that. I mean, some may consider it corny, but I like the fact that he had no idea what to do. And that makes sense because he's not an experienced superhero. He's not an experienced adult. He's a child, you know what I'm saying? And he's still discovering his powers. And so while I want to see a bunch of badassery in my superhero comic book films, it has to make sense within the context of the story. Now, they were able to still do that in this short film, Shazam, right here. This is actually 4 films. This is Shazam, Spectre, Green Arrow, and Jonah Hex. But you know, Superman versus Shazam, The Return of Black Adam, you know, here we go right here. They were able to do that in that film, but it just has to do with the writing. But I like the way they did that in this film right here, and him not being able to fully get all of his powers out. Now, let's get to the third act. Now, I enjoyed it. It was a big surprise seeing the Shazam family pop up. That I did not see that coming, you know, for like a mile away. Especially when the kid got his powers and he was like, Hadouken! Did the Street Fighter Ken, Ryu, and Akuma move. I was like, oh my God. Just like, just nerd orgasm all over myself. You know what I'm saying? I freaking love that. Megan Good popped up. You know, that was freaking fantastic. I love that Freddie Freeman, played by Jack Dylan Grazer, you know, he was, you know, kind of handicapped, but he got the ability to be able to fly and things like that. You know, at the early in the film, he was like, dude, I would kill to be in your position. You get all these powers, you know, but you're not really helping people. You're taking selfies and charging people for it, you know, but he has the power now. You know, he was humble for the most part. You know, he did admit that he was an attention seeker, but, you know, he's a foster kid. You know, he's handicapped. We're all products of our environment. So for that to come into fruition for him towards the end, you know, it was just wonderful. It was enlightening. I really did enjoy it. I love when people, you know, get what they deserve, you know, in a good sense, you know, and I think he deserved that. But Megan Good, you're fine behind. My goodness gracious. It was nice to see you there. That was you know, you had the super speed and all that good stuff. I liked it. Now within the third act itself, my only really complaint is it just did not have that epic nature that I wanted. Like, you know, I really can't sit with the whole Shazam film in general. I enjoyed it. I can't just sit down and say like, man, I'm finna put Shazam in right now because I want to see some beat ass. I want to see somebody get their ass kicked. I want to see some high octane action. That's the only thing that I can take away. And then the third act of this film, I just kind of felt that everything was going to be okay. Now, it was very funny to me still when, you know, it's the cliche at the end, the ending battle, the bad guy's always monologuing, yes, and I will rule and take control over this and make you all my puppets and reign supreme, blah, blah, blah. With this, you know, they turned it into a joke because they're like, blocks away from each other and they can't hear, I found that extremely funny. And we kind of found out that the way that they're going to defeat Dr. Savannah is they have to get all of the 7 deadly sins out of his body and then whoop him up that way. It was clever. It was unique. I liked it, you know, but at the same time, the whole ending battle was kind of goofy too. And it just, you know, I really didn't feel the stakes. While it was still fun, I really didn't feel the stakes. But you know, it was still cool. I still had a good time. And at the very end of the film, you know, we got Superman popping up. They showed him from neck down. We didn't see from head up, and I like that. I like how they're tying everything together without at the same time, you know, writing themselves in the corner. And just something else when I was talking about Billy Batson, Shazam, you know, Mr. Asher Angel, you know, he was scared to fight too early on in the film. I like that. I really do, because it just makes sense in the context of the story. Now, when I rated this film initially, I did give it a 9 out of a 10, but I think I'm gonna have to drop my rating down just a little bit to an 8.5. Because while this is still one of the best films in the whole DCEU, I also want to put the entertainment value in it. And there are other films in the DCEU that I may even consider worse than this one that I could watch over and over and over again because of my particular taste, my opinion on my taste. I like epic fights, you know, like we got in Aquaman or you know, Justice League or Wonder Woman, you know, but you have to come back and see how I rate those films in order from worst to first, you know, to get all that. So if it upsets you guys that I lower my rating, you know, hey, it is what it is. I just got to be honest. I got to give my opinion, but my rating for Shazam is still one of the best in the DCEU. Is going to be an 8.5 out of 10. Yes, an 8.5 out of 10. But guys, that is just my opinion, my spoilery review opinion for Shazam. What did you think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did I turn you on? Did I turn you off? Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Let me know down in the comment section below. Let's get this conversation going and keep it fun. If you like this video, go ahead and give me the thumbs up. If you don't, that's fine, but you can still subscribe to my channel. You can also look me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all that good stuff. It's right there at the bottom of your screen, and I made it very easy by providing a link to all that down in the description box below. But guys, I just want to thank you again for tuning into my opinion/review, my spoiler review of Shazam, which is now in theaters starring Zachary Levi. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.